Hello, Narnach here. Welcome back to Grim Dawn. We're playing with the Ashes of Malmouth expansion. And today, we're gonna continue from where we left off last time, which is in the middle of the Gloomwald. Let's see if we can get to the Ogdenbog. So I had a look at the previous video to see why I died, or if I could find any clue as to what specifically killed me. But I literally went from full health in one frame to 0 health in the next frame, and because it was a melee and there were just so many different effects going on, I couldn't really make heads or tails of what it was that killed me. So let's just remain as a warning that if you're gonna face the average marrow wheel in the cellar, just stay out of melee range. But yeah, it's a part of the new content, discovering which enemies are dangerous, which are not, or which are less dangerous. Hey, there's a bit that sticks out. That looks like it might contain something interesting. Hello there, Ogdenbog Golem. Hey, is that light? Oh, interesting. So this is like a bright light, there's sunbeams going on, it's all bright and happy, and then you go over here and then things get gloomy again. I don't like the light effect there. Little details, but they're really cool. Oh, you might have noticed that I'm only using 2 permanent pets, and the skill bar has changed a bit, and that is because I have shifted to, for now, using a Guile relic, and the next upgrade is going to be Death Chill, which uses Guile as one of its inputs, but I'm about 37,500 iron bits away from being able to craft a Death Chill. Death Chill requires a blueprint that randomly drops, and I was lucky enough to find it a while ago. Hey, hello there, enemy that does way too much damage. As I said, I was lucky enough to find one, but it's not one of the second tier relics, similar to Savage, that I crafted a couple episodes ago. And no, I think it requires 3 or 4 different tier 1 relics as input. So no, the total price of ownership is probably around 100,000 iron bits if you account for all the crafting. So it's gonna take you a while to craft if you are not very wealthy from some older characters. But made about 30,000 iron bits just going through the Gloomwald in the previous episode. So with a bit of luck, it's this episode or the next one, should be able to afford crafting it, and then we're gonna upgrade. And Death Chill is gonna give both me and the minions a boatload of cold and vitality damage. Just flat damage straight on top. And it ought to more than double the base damage that the minions will be dealing, which will then in turn get amplified. So that's a very nice way to scale your minions' damage. And apparently a much more efficient way than simply scaling the percentage bonus of damage they do. If you scale the flat damage that is at the base of everything, then it gets scaled all the way. Okay, there is a road here. I wonder if that is what connected us here. So I'm going to assume the way forward leads from there. So I'm backtracking a little bit just to keep clearing out everything. See, nothing there. Hey, people. Ogdenbog cannibals. Flesh crazed. Some spiteful wraiths. Wait. Are those my counterparts? Do they have necromancers that summon wraiths? Let's see, Praetorian Face Guard. Ah, that's an old set Praetorian. 3-parter gives you ether and chaos resistance, so that is always nice to have, of course. Let's see what's in this house. Nice view, I guess. It's all the swamp outside. Then again, people do have a habit of just more or less just living everywhere on the planet in all circumstances. But this might very well be the inn that some of the lore talked about in the previous episode. It's even a sign outside. Yeah, see, it's like a mug of ale. It's the End Up Tavern. And this one is Close the Hatch. Bathroom with some bathtubs. Liquor cabinets, and that kind of fits. Nothing more here. The exception, of course, that there's quite a bunch of corpses. So let's read. Kretchmore's order. There have been some strange travelers about these parts recently. The inn is busy, more so than it should be this time of year. Not that you'll hear me complain about that. A fair bit of extra coin has found its way to my pockets as of late, but the folk moving through these parts aren't like the ones we're used to seeing. There's been common folk from further south than Devil's Crossing, and groups of men and women moving about with strange new markings on their armor and clothes. We even had a fella a couple of weeks back claimed he came all the way south from the capital. Said he was a chef looking for work. They didn't have room for him, so I suggested he try in Burbage. Hey, would that be Ulgrim? Also, the capital being south. I wonder if this might hint at what is to come in maybe another expansion or something. So it's nice when they drop hints that the world is larger than the map that you know of from the game itself. It's not just the people that are strange. There's been an uneasy feeling in the forest, as I'm sure you've noticed. I haven't seen nor heard a bird in more than a week. I chalked it up to there being more people around, but no more than 3 days ago, Critch brought in a fresh kill. It was a big swamp bug, 10 points if I remember correctly. A kill like that usually brings in the vultures, but the dressings have been sitting out in the wood, festering since, and no sight of those hideous things. If it sits out much longer, it'll draw out Caraxes for sure. I swear that crusty old bastard has doubled in size and gone twice as ugly since I last saw him. He's been up around the inn twice in the last year, stealing things. Supposedly he even took a milk cow from Gretchen's stable. I shouldn't like to think what happened to the poor thing. Fire used to scare him off, but he seems to have become bolder as he's grown. Whoever finds the creature's lair is in for a right heap of useless junk, and more crap than a man could eat in his lifetime. If anyone should be eating that thing to begin with. In any case, there's business to be done, especially with all these folks moving about the countryside. If you've got the stores, I'd like to order 3 casks of Redmire ale, 2 cases of Blackleaf and 20 bottles of stone wine. Payment on delivery as usual. Kretchmore. Okay. So, Caraxes is the golem or something, or apparently more of a crab type thing that we are supposed to hunt for the main quest. So we might be on the right path here. Have a quick look at what's in the little bit over here. Nothing much. Okay. So then let's complete the bend over there and then we'll see. Okay, Oektenbok, Overgrowth. Ooh. Den of Caraxes. This is the gotta be the fight of the century. So let's see. At least they've been hyping it up quite a bit. See if the hype is true. If the hype is real. Okay, there's just some moss things. Just trying to approach this cautiously. Hello there, Corax's Fowl, level 55 to my 49. And he does look crab-like. Okay, let's boost our minions a bit. Do some devouring swarm and then actually see if I can remain a bit more at a distance instead of diving in. Wow, that was rather easy, I must say. Not as much as I'd expected from a main quest boss. But I guess we do have quite a bunch of helpers. We lost one skeleton here, but for the rest it's all good. I'm considering whether I should not be hanging back more rather than being at the front with the bone harvest. Because of course the bone harvest is the main reason why I'm always at the front just trying to hit things. So it's a nice skill, does a decent chunk of damage, and it provides a boost both to myself and to the minions. So no, there's pretty good incentive to use it, but I haven't really heavily invested in it. So no, it's not like I'm losing a lot by giving it up. No, there's a little bit of a slow. There's a chance of terrifying, and of course then there's the bonus. But you know, the percentage is only 15% for me, 15% for the pets. Scales up, of course, and we can invest 12 points into it, so that will get better. But the most value in here is for the flat bonus, damage bonus to Cult of Vitality, which interestingly does get used again by the Bone Harvest itself, because it uses more than 100% main hand damage. But now if you take this out, then that's basically the only reason for going into melee. Then we can take out the Reaping Strike and the Necrotic Edge, that's another 2 points. So that we can save about 5 points that way. And then pick something else as the primary attack. Maybe you know, keep a Devouring Swarm on the left mouse, which is ranged by default. And it does reduce enemy resistances. Because I've already been using the Reaping Strike. But currently I'm just thinking over this, what to do. Probably reach a decision soon-ish. Oh, Reaping Strike, or Bone Harvest, it does have there's style points to it. Oh, just slamming on the ground and then having those bones fly around. Wait, we actually have to bring it forward, so there's no point in going back. But oh, if it's right now, if it's more endangering me than that it's helping me, then maybe I should take it out to not tempt myself to do things I really shouldn't be doing. Because tanking things like that, I shouldn't be doing that. I've got minions for that. Oh, hello there. There's a unique in there.
I can't do that yet.
Jormungandr the Diseased. We've got a similar problem actually with Siphon Souls, which is also point blank AoE lifesteal. It's useful, especially if you put a lot of points into it as a meleeer. It's pretty nice. I mean, my Reaper has it maxed for example. But if you shouldn't be a meleeer, then maybe you shouldn't have those skills either. So actually that's gonna give us 2 points. So that's actually 7 points that we can reinvest. Now that's 7 points that we could, for example, put into Reap Spirit. That's gonna increase that one's damage by quite a bit. Or alternatively, simply use it to boost the defenses a bit more. Or actually to just put it into a Devouring Swarm and give that one back its more prominent position. That in the beginning of the series, when I added it, I actually had 6 or 7 points into it, which I then unspec'd to benefit some other skills. I think it was actually to simply focus on maxing out the skeletons, because that was way more valuable at that point in time than having Devouring Swarm. Now that we're a bit further, things have changed and there is some value in having the Devouring Swarm. But no, we don't have a Seer in town anymore. That one got killed. This looks like a place where something could just wait and ambush you. So once we find a Seer, that's when we can do a respec, or I need to just change the difficulty to Elite, talk to the Seer there, and then go back. Since of course the Elite hasn't been transformed yet by the Malmouth stuff. Because that's still one of the odd things. You can skip this content and just go to Elite. That's and something that I've seen some other summoners actually do as well. Or at least saw on the forums that they said that they did that. Just skipped normal expansion content in order to just keep leveling to make their skeletons more sturdy and things like that. Okay. Now what? Might not have the skills, might not have the ability to switch points, but of course I can just switch my skills and then we can adapt the play patterns without having respect the points and see if it works better, if it's a way to just keep myself more alive. And then the increased efficiency from more invested skill points comes later. They definitely pop multiple times, which does throw you off. You hover, you don't see a health bar pop up, so you think it's dead. And then boom, it shoots at you again. Because it just regrew itself. Okay, this seems like a standalone thing and that it continues up. And now the map extends to that direction as well, so that backs it up as well. So let's have a look. What is so special down there? Ancient Wendigo, and let's take a step back in. Okay. Nothing. That it looks like there is something down there, but I fear it's just the background. Something that is of course difficult to discern at times. Wendigo altar with some dropped items. Alright, let's push forward. I think we did manage to just... Oh, there's one thing there, but it might be that it branches back off to the left. Let's hope so, because otherwise we do have to backtrack. Wonderful. We can go left here. Okay, and that is just another connecting bit. Hey, So with the exception of the inn, this area has been, and the inn and the cave behind it, this area has been less eventful than the previous one. Though it's all still part of the Gloombolt. It's truly is a large area. And now we're entering the Oakdenbog. Nothing says hello like a totem, and there seems to be a city down there. That is very convenient. And a portal, that's even more convenient. It's like a giant statue with a face. Okay, that one's back alive, and then Coven Guardians, Coven's Refuge.
I'll give you a good price on what I've got left. Iron well spent.
Merchants, bounty table, wares of the Coven. Ah. So, let's see, tolerated, you get access to Cursed Tincture. Releases a curse upon nearby foes, lowering their resists. Okay. Next up, Coven Mindbender Hood. +2 to Ether Ray and Wendigo Totem. +2 to Possession and Emboldened Presence. And Ether Resistance for pets. Bunch of elemental damage. Force Wave, Static Strike, Stormcaller Pact. Fighting Form, Range and Expertise. Ooh, Ether Resist and Elemental Resist. This is pretty nice from a defensive perspective. It's level 65 though, keep that in mind. This is not something that you'll likely hit as soon as you enter here. It's more meant for elite, I suspect. Vitality resistance, bleeding resistance. Ooh, boatload of vitality damage. Vitality ether resist, summon Blightfiend and Primal Bond. That is exactly the class combination we're playing. Gets us more attack speed and armor for the pets. Reap Spirit and Distortion, that is Necromancer, and I think Distortion was Arcanist. Defender's Cask, aspect of the Guardian and Vindictive Flame. That is Occultist and Demolitionist. Then some Shoulders, Stunjacks, Savagery, Blade Burst, Fire Strike. Devouring Swarm and Raise Skeletons. Hey, that is what we have for body armor. That would not be bad. Especially since our body armor is really not all that great. This would be a very nice upgrade, and I do like the look of it. Just hope it translates nicely to the character so you don't have to illusion over it. Though I must say the illusion system is pretty nice to have in the game, since you can make your character just look the way you want it to. That is replicating missile on the big one. Yeah, this is definitely going to be nice armor for just fixing your resists. Let's see, blueprints. Coven Vile Waistguard, so that it continues the tradition that I think every faction has a specific belt. This one's vitality and ether damage, chaos resistance, random stats and drain essence and disintegration. Lethal Waistguard, deadly aim and aspect of the Guardian. Relic, Spectre. Let's see. Bit of chaos resistance, some ether damage, and spectral bolt granted by item. Ooh, this gives you effectively a main skill to use. Just an active skill to cast. There's no cooldown on it, just an energy usage. 2.5 meter radius with a boatload of vitality and ether damage and a reduction to offensive ability on enemies. Might not be. This is actually pretty nice if you want to play a caster but you don't want to play with a skill from the tree. This is a very good alternative to that. Relic, Gluttony. We already picked this one up because you can also buy it from our dear friends in Devil's Crossing. And it's a very nice starter one in Hysteria. This summoned crab spirit. It's also a permanent minion, cold and vitality damage, and we've already bought it somewhere. Could be the Rovers. Relic Fortitude. That gives you a shield bash. We don't have it yet. Could be that this one is shared with Homestead, but I haven't bought it yet because I didn't have need of it. And it is 10,000 iron bits, and I've just been spending most of my iron bits on crafting. And a Fervor Relic that just boosts your crit damage and offensive ability. So this is, if you want to be a crit monster, Fervor is probably going to be a very nice one for you to grab. And then at higher difficulties we get augments, cold lightning, frostburn, bunch of health, cold lightning health, yeah, that's of course one-hander, two-hander weapons. Then physical, internal damage and bleeding damage, so it's very much physical based. Fire and chaos. Oh, this one has a bit of pet bonus. Acid, poison damage and a bit of health, and then bonus to all damage of pets and to their armor. And a two-handed version. And then rings and amulets that give you acid, vitality, poison, bleed resist, life lead resist, and vitality and chaos damage. Fire cold. Lightning and ether damage. Reduced petrify duration, that's a different form of stun / freeze. Range and amulets gives you bleeding damage and piercing damage. Elemental damage with some health. And that's it. Okay, so nothing really insanely compelling here. It's just very aggressive. Maybe with the exception of the health on the acid and poison one. And even more things that just grant you a bunch of skills. +1 to all skills in Nightblade, that is nice. Bloody Pox Devouring Swarm with a Vitality Barrage. Chance on crit. Cool. Bonus to 3 different skills, so that's probably going to be the 3 different classes. 2 different skills. Poison Bolt. The percentage bonuses here are getting pretty nice. Then again, these are level 84. These are very far into our future. +3 and +4 even to skills. It's a two-handed mace though, so I guess it warrants some bonus. 15% chance on attack to put down an elemental seal. That's pretty decent for damage. And more caster offense that also grants bonuses to skills. Coven Lethal Girdle, yet another belt with skills on it. Drain Essence, Disintegrate, Heartseeker. Okay, so there's quite a lot of interesting things to be had here, though. Nightblade, this is +1 on the axe, and there's +1 on the amulet here. That's the only class that seems to get +1s from this. The other ones have to do with small bonuses, and for even more, man, there's even more. Yeah. You know what? This is for level 90 plus. You get recipes for some legendary items, but you know what? Let's not go into that. I've always feels like I've been staring at items here for too long. So stash here. There's let's have a chat with the folks here. Andros. Are you in charge around here? Certainly not. You should speak to Sister Goradia before somebody mistakes you for a ghoul. Now, leave me to my work. What are you working on? I'm sorry, is this sharing hour? Leave me to my work. Okay. Sorry if I asked. Okay, so we should just go in, have a chat with the quest NPC. Goradia.
Whatever it is you think you're doing here, you are in the wrong place.
Perhaps the Heart of Caraxes will change your mind?
Interesting. It appears that perhaps we can be of use to each other after all. Very well. Speak. What brings you to our refuge?
I must find a way to Malmouth and find a lost friend.
If you seek a path to Malmouth through the swamps, then I am afraid you are out of luck. The roads have all but collapsed, and even if you should somehow find your way out of the bog, the land beyond has been consumed by aether fire. Ancient passageways exist that could take you north, but they are not of this realm, and you will not like where they lead. Now, this friend of yours, what happened?
His name was Ulgrim, and he was taken by the Void in battle.
Ulgrim, you say? Oh, it would be a shame to lose such a legend. But if he was claimed by the Void, then... Perhaps this gives me an idea that will solve both your predicaments. But if we are to help with this, then I must ask for something more in return.
Okay, what do we get? Reputation with the Coven of Ogdenburg and a tonic of clarity. Resets your devotion points. Okay, interesting. So that saves you from having to go to the seer. Very well. What do you require?
What you ask will take me some time to prepare. But before I help you, there is something you must do for us. Deep within Ugdungbog, to the north of our refuge, there lies a village by the name of Barrowholm. I need you to travel there.
So what's the village have to do with you?
I care not for the village, only for what was stolen. We had crafted an Ugdungbog fetish within the swamp in order to protect ourselves from the wilderness. Recently, someone has tampered with it, tore off the head of the fetish, and ran off with it. I can still sense its waning power within the bog, and the only nearby settlement is Barrowholm. I do not care what you do. We must have it returned to us. Do this, and I shall give you the means to find Ulgrim, and perhaps even a way to Malmouth.
Okay, we've got a deal. So, that is what's gonna send us over to Barrowholm. So that's gonna be for next episode. Let's see what the other folks have to say here. Hey there, can I help you? So what are you doing up here? I'm Garadia's bodyguard. I go where she goes. You're not looking to cause trouble, are you? Certainly not. Good, because I'd hate to sully that pretty face of yours. Okay, so what can you tell me about the Coven? Well, I haven't been here long, so there isn't much I could tell you. Shortly following the Grim Dawn, had a bad run-in with some bastards looking for easy pickings. Unfortunately for them, I didn't qualify. Unfortunately for me, there were 4 of them, and I didn't exactly make it out unscathed. Garadia found me alone and slowly dying to my injuries. She brought me here and tended to my wounds. When I was healed, she said I could stay here and train with the others. I owe her my life. Always had a penchant for violence, so I suppose my role just came naturally to me. Well, it's a noble pursuit. Nobody in my life has ever shown me the kindness that Garadia has. There isn't anything I wouldn't do for her. It's maybe a little bit of a fanatic there. So you seem a little friendly than the others I've spoken to. I don't immediately assume every stranger is an enemy, though a healthy bit of skepticism helps these days. Don't mistake my demeanor for softness though. That's Garadia, and you're a dead man. Fair enough. Okay, so let's have a look at the rest of town. They got a spirit guide, yes.
What troubles you?
Novi. Well, I said I was thinking about it. Let's, I'll just put the deeds to the words. Let's unspec out of the bone harvest. Oh, would need to take the devotion off first. If we're not gonna do any standard melee attacks, then of course we can take those off.
Safe journey.
Then, in terms of devotions. So the Shepherd's Call is no longer on Bone Harvest. Instead, we just put it on the Devouring Swarm, since that is our new standard attack. And then, we can chat with you to clear Bone Harvest. So that is settled. That gets us a whole 5 points, I thought. Oh yeah, we had the Blood Boil. On the other hand, this also has the utility of reducing enemies' health regeneration, so...
Safe journey.
maybe, just maybe, keeping this as a remedy for in case I get surrounded, or if there's enemies that are clearly regenerating a lot of health, then we have some means of dealing with it. But still, 5 more skill points are going to be useful. And well, as I said, might be very useful to just reinvest them into our new primary attack, which is the Devouring Swarm. Yeah.
What troubles you?
And in terms of devotion points...
Safe journey.
Currently, we can't consume crystals from our inventory, so we'll just do that at a later point. Or we need to have the crystals in our inventory in order to use them for the devotions. And respecting all points, that seems a little overkill. So I guess if you want to completely overhaul your character, those potions can be rather useful. We have an illusionist again, Matron Malostria.
What does the foul wind bring us this day? I believe you were just leaving.
That's almost like a Jedi mind trick. I believe you were just leaving. Yes, I believe I was just leaving. Guardian Cynthia. Greetings, outsider. I'm told that you are heading into Uktenborg. Brave of you. I was wondering if you could assist us in an important matter while you are out there. So what do you have in mind? Matron Malostria has been reaching out across Karn, calling witches to gather here in relative safety. Once they arrive, their survival becomes my responsibility until they get accustomed to life in Uktenborg. Most of those that Malostria was able to commune with have arrived, except for a few stragglers. It has been some time though, and we suspect that something has happened to our future sisters. If you find yourself out in Uktenborg, please look around. See if any of them have gotten lost, or worse, captured by the roaming cannibals. Even though they are not yet under my care, I feel a certain responsibility to their well-being, but I cannot simply leave the refuge. If you do this for me, I will see to it that you are aptly rewarded with some of our supplies. I will help you. Of course, this is going to help us get our reputation with the Coven of Uktenborg up. We get a bonus reputation for killing beasts. That's the same as Homestead, so that is lovely. And of course doing quests and later on bounties as well. Ooh, another quest. Ralia. We meet again, friend. I must admit, I had some reservations regarding your unusual state of mind, but you've proven to be understanding of human plights, even compassionate. My sisters will breathe easier knowing that you are willing to see past our craft for the people we are, and I will make sure they hear of it. Do not worry, I will not speak of your origins to the others. Even though they endured prejudice in the Empire, they're not entirely free of it themselves. That's humanity for you, I suppose. So how did you make it here, all the way from the Bloodgrove? It wasn't simple, I can tell you that. After Malostria's calls became more frequent, I set out east towards the lake. I travelled part of the way by boat, but that dingy thing did not last long in the turbulent waters. I found myself off the coast of Whitemire, nearly drowned. Thankfully, a couple of rovers found me before the Sliff did. With their help, I recovered quickly and made my way up here. So this is the witch that we saved when we first set foot outside of Homestead into the Bloodgrove. If you don't go in and then straight to the right, she was the witch that was about to be burned by the folks there. So it's nice that she makes an appearance and you get some free reputation for having helped her. So this Malostria called you? Yes, she's a powerful psychic and nearly burned at the stake herself for the ability to tap into the ether. Magnified by powers of the other witches, Malostria called out to anyone with the gifts who might hear. The lucky few who interpreted her summons and survived the journey are here. Well, that's fascinating. See, anything else you can tell me about the area? You've probably already had a run-in with the cannibals if you are here, so warning you about them fills moot. They are by far the most dangerous thing out in Uktenborg. try to avoid confrontation with the flesh-crazed, although our rapidly fading wards may soon see us attacked. Beware the ones who have fully transformed, the ones we call Wendigo, children of Ravager. I'll be careful. Ser Rugia.
I can smell the questions upon you.
One comes before us who is not ready. Perhaps another day shall rise upon which he will understand. Huh? You pester me, marked one. Begone! Okay then. I guess we need more reputation before she wants to chat with us. Evoke. Ah, one who toys with the dead. Your reputation precedes you. My reputation? Yes, the threads bring word of your deeds in Devil's Crossing and beyond. But be careful that you are not caught in the spider's grasp. So what does that mean? Fair warning. All that is done here is seen and heard. You would be wise to tread carefully. So what is this place? This was once a place of gathering for beings of unfathomable power. Now it serves as a lowly refuge for what remains of this coven. Oh, isn't it dangerous out here? Indeed, a great deal of effort is spent protecting this place. You may see signs of our labor in the wards and traps that surround the coven. So what was this about my reputation? Yes, the threads bring word of your deeds in Devil's Crossing and beyond. Okay, this is what the spiders grasp. Okay, well, thank you for the warning then. There are hidden spoils here, so it was worth the effort to seeing the dude over here. Ooh, whispers from beyond. I like lore. The words were subtle at first, like an itch in the back of my mind. They were garbled, impossible to make out their meaning. But they would not relent. They became an incessant distraction, a calling much like Malostria's message that once beckoned me to this place. Except while the matron came to me in my dreams. These words are without respite, without end. I can feel my attention waning when performing even rudimentary tasks. At times, one voice would rise above the rest in a maddening chorus, and then I could deduce its meaning. This clarity never lasted long. And soon the chorus would resume. Never would the same voice gain power over the others. Each time it was as if another sought my ear. They spoke of webs and spiders and places I have never seen nor heard of. Sometimes they woke me in terror as they screamed of fire and vengeance, unlike the world had ever seen. I spoke of this to the matron, and her eyes would quickly dart towards old Rugia before staring into mine. She tried to console me as best she could, but we both knew that what fate awaits those born with this curse. I only wish I could derive some meaning from the darkness before the madness claims my soul. It seems, however, that is not to be. Okay. Could it be Evoke who's slowly going mad? Let's see, we've been there. I suspect that's going to be the way out. So let's have a quick look on the other side of town. Is there anything else left to hear or to see or to do? Oh, another treasure chest. Trista's diary. This whole thing is still very strange to me. There are sisters here who have devoted their entire lives to studying and craft. But I know nothing of such things. I have no skill with herb and vial, no knowledge of threads or their connections. I have no tales of the three, or longsight. I cannot convene with spirits, and yet here I am. I was drawn in here like a fish to its spawning grounds, and have no idea why. I don't think any of these sisters know either. I've heard some of the elders speaking of me. There was no disdain in their voices, but they too are at a loss for what purpose I have in this place. I have learned many things in my short time here, and despite my apparent lack of direction, I intend to absorb as much information as this place will give me. There is a great deal of history in this coven. I have overheard the elder sisters speaking of a time when it was first formed, a time when its members were fearless and driven by a hunger for knowledge. They unveiled secrets hidden from mankind, learned of sources of immense power. Together they achieved things the rest of us dream of, but it came at a heavy price. Their hubris drew the ire of the three, and nothing was ever the same. My contemporaries speak of the time, in hushed tones, but to be honest, I'm envious of them. They must have felt such drive, such clarity of purpose. Is it truly so wrong to pursue lost knowledge? I will not rest until I have uncovered their secrets, until these places of power are once again within our grasp. The witch gods be damned. But as I walk among my sisters, I realize that there are those among us who look up to the tree with reverence. Through them, the gods retain their unbroken gaze upon this place and our actions. I must be discreet and unassuming. The mantle of an ill-directed, purposeless new recruit shall suit me well. For now. So this was Trista. Okay. Wonder if we're gonna meet this Trista. For now, let's say hello to Kalia. I sense that you've traveled far. I wonder, in your travels, have you been to Port Volbury? Do you know of its fate? It was my home once, but now it is hidden from me. I no longer see it in my dreams. I'm sorry, I haven't been there yet. I feel that something horrible happened there, something I just barely evaded. After I fled the city, I could see it in my dreams for a time, but now it is shrouded in mist and fire, hidden from view as if it had never existed. I fear what began there may be the end of us all. Okay, that's ominous. You said you escaped the city? Yes, before the Grim Dawn. I fled Port Volbury and headed for the Uchtenborg. This place, this refuge, they called to me, though I did not know it existed at the time. You're safe here, but be wary in your travels, stranger. I will, thank you. So after we've done the Port Volbury challenge dungeon, we probably should return and have a chat with Kalia and see what Hastria has to say. A word of caution, stranger. A deceptive spirit has tainted these lands. It seeks only to corrupt and consume. A spirit. The Wendigo corrupts those who fall prey to its trickery and consumes those too weakened to defend themselves. Take care in who you trust out there. What's it like living out here? It is as you'd expect, lonely and dangerous. The others trouble themselves with threats here in the bog, but I try to cast my gaze beyond. Beyond? So secluded from the rest of the world, it is too easy for us to focus on what happened here, in our little refuge, and forget what is happening in the rest of Karn. When I stand here, at the circle of sight, I see a darkness gathering strength in the north. Our enemies are preparing. We should too. So what do you see? I see a vast expanse of ether fire, blanketing the land as far as the eye can see. I see a city in ruins, its people shattered, clinging to a meager existence. Mere moments of this destruction is more than I can bear to witness. Okay, sorry to have disturbed you. As you already spoke of the deceptive spirits. Okay, Andros. Sister Garadia has instructed me to aid you in return for your efforts. I've used the heart of Caraxes to prepare a restorative salve. Oh, that sounds good to me. This alone should suffice payment, but I've been instructed to offer my help if you should need it in the future. However, the salve takes some time to prepare. Now, leave me. I must return to my work. Thank you. Okay. So what are you working on? It is my charge to prepare all materials and rituals used by the Coven. As you might imagine, this takes a great deal of concentration. Now, may I return to my work? And we can ask for another salve. I suspect that's going to be once per login session. I think in Devil's Crossing there's a similar thing with Ulgrim if you pick him up as a chef. Okay. So I
Got
might as
something
well
you need
pick up
stashed?
also a couple of crystals here. Crystal. Yeah, crystals. Yeah, pick up 10. Bring those along. Might as well just put some of these materials back. Now we can have a chat with the seer to respect the devotion
keep an
points,
eye
and
on
then
this.
that's gonna be the last thing for this episode. Because I think we did have a chat with everybody. So next episode we can venture forth
What troubles you?
once again. So yeah, we can respect the one devotion point, the green one
Safe
over
journey.
here. That allows us to spend it into Bismuel's bonds, and now our pets are 8% faster. That is always a nice thing. Okay, and wow, we entered here at about half an hour, and we're almost an hour in. Fun how that goes. Yeah, and this is just a dead end. So the small path leading out to the east of Coven's Refuge is indeed where we will go out next time. For now though, I'm gonna thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you again next time. Bye bye.